Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name is Nick and today guys we're going to be jumping down into the world of Bitcoin, taking a look at what's been going on most recently with the price action and what I think is likely to happen next. As I get into this video, if you find it useful and informative, smash the like button. I do appreciate that. If you're new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. And if you haven't yet joined us in Discord, guys, you are missing a trick. Check it out, linked in the description down below. It's completely free. It's a fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's the first place that we go to notify you of what's going on in the space here for crypto. So why not check it out in the description below. Okay, Bitcoin paired up with USDT on the hourly chart, and Binance is our data source here. I'm just going to bring these yellow boxes just across here, just a fraction further, as we start to reflect on what's been going on. Okay, so we can see we have this ABC structure to the downside. We did hit our target. Let's go ahead and just check how close it was. If I go ahead and just pull this onto our wick high, it's approximately here. Okay, I'll put the B wave back. And you can see that we wicked down just a little bit higher than the 1-to-1. Okay, so the 1-to-1 ratio was 16,470. I think I said last time it was about $16,500. We came down on this wick to 16,527, and we've kind of consolidated inside our demand zone. Okay, now this could be problematic for us because if we do not just automatically bounce out of this demand zone area, chances are that we might actually lose this as our support lines, and we might actually turn it into resistance. Okay, so the fact that we've consolidated down here over the weekend could be deemed a little negative. Okay, so we're going to jump in to see what's going on next. Now obviously this does mean that we're potentially at an end of a structure. Okay, but this move could come down further and make this a WXYXZ kind of scenario, taking us a little bit deeper into this move to the downside. Now, obviously, we're still expecting these lows, 13,000, if I actually check this, it's 13,247 through to about 14,218. So we've still got some progression to the downside, but I was actually expecting more of a move to the upside before we see the collapse further. So let's check out those momentum indicators, what's been going on. So we're actually reasonably low on the 1 hour. We do need to check the 4 hour, do that in a second. Oversold on the 8 and oversold on the daily, not so much the weekly. So let's go ahead and let's bring this up, right? So on the 1 hour, we're heading down. We've got progression to the upside. The 4 hour still got some growth in it, so that's a promising sign. Same with the 8 hour. The 12 hours okay, 16 hours okay, 20 hour is okay. The daily probably could come down a wee bit more, just to kind of be down here for a few days. So we'll see how today goes. We'll see how Monday goes. We'll get into that. And we've progressed quite a bit to the upside on the weekly already. So my thoughts on the momentum behind the price is that in theory, we should be able to rally on out of here next week. But I do think there's also a pretty high probability that we just go down a fraction more. Okay, we lose this area just briefly, liquidate anyone who was going long, and then maybe we go long. Because I do think there is a position here to go higher in terms of the price action. But if too many people are laddering into those long positions on BTC or many of the other crypto altcoins out there, then what we might find is what we call kind of scam wicks, right? The market makers bring that price down, liquidate everyone, and then move the price up. And this sometimes can happen incredibly quickly. And I can show you a few examples of such a move. It wasn't that long ago. We saw it over here. Okay, so we were hovering around this area here. We wicked all the way down, we hit the lows, and then we rallied on up, right? And it was so quick, it basically liquidated people before we ended up moving back up again, okay? So it happens from time to time, just as those market makers don't necessarily want to pay out a lot of people. So they'll look for those liquidations and they'll grab as much of the liquidity as possible, okay? Also, there are I say influencers, that's not true. There are kind of institutional players and whales, maybe, influencers, I don't know, that are liquidity hunters. Okay, they'll use things to kind of help understand where the liquidity is, usually swing highs, swing lows, and they'll try to kind of hunt after the liquidity, grab as much of that money as possible. So where we are right now in this kind of sideways trading weekend, right down here, this is problematic because it does mean that it's a ranging market. We're bouncing around from the higher end and the lower end of our demand zone, so not one that I want to engage in. And at the moment, we do have data to support both a small move to the downside and a bigger move to the upside. But obviously, chances are this is probably how it's going to play out. We probably are going to move down before we move up, but it's a bit hard to say exactly how that's going to go. So usually you wait for confirmation of those moves. Now, essentially, if we come over to the on-chain data, we can also check to see what people are doing, right? And why I think we're going to go down before going up. Now, here we have the inflows and the outflows for BTC on the exchanges, and we have actually been pulling down, right? This basically is telling us that there isn't a huge amount of demand over the weekend. We kind of know this already. This is something that we see every single weekend regardless. The green line being above the red line is positive. It does mean that there is more in the way of outflows than inflows. However, I think a lot of that is really around the fact that we don't trust exchanges overly well at the moment. So therefore, it's better to kind of always withdraw from the exchanges. So yesterday, Saturday, we saw 31,000 Bitcoin coming off the exchanges and 22,000 going on to the exchanges. Now, when we start taking a look at the wallets, we start to really quite clearly see that there's a lot of kind of accumulation happening at these particular stages. Now, this is why I think we're going to see a move down. We're going to see some pressure here applied to see whether or not we can shake some of the money out. And we've got these two retail investors here, right? We've got the shrimps at 1 Bitcoin or more and the dolphins at 10 Bitcoin or more. And I will be looking to add in the additional lower wallets. Just need some time to do that. But you can see as price comes down, they've accumulated. Price comes down, they're accumulated. But they're not the only ones. Even the traders have been, right? Price comes down and they've been really spiking up quite a bit here. Okay, so essentially, this is actually interesting because I think that this isn't the first time we've seen this this year where you have these huge spikes in the number of wallets holding said amount of Bitcoin. In this case, here's 100 Bitcoin, right? So they've been holding 100 Bitcoin or more. And then the price goes down even further and these guys basically come out of their positions rapidly. Okay, and so it wouldn't be the first time we would have seen that this year if it does unfold as such. So just be really, really cautious. Small money, such as the retail investors and these traders from the sharks, these players have been accumulating, and well, if we can actually take a look at the whale players, they have not been doing anything near that amount. So just brace yourselves because generally speaking, retail is wrong about these moves. So just keep that in mind, okay? Because I am concerned that we are going to move down before we move up, and it'll just be all about the grabbing as much money as possible. But I do think there is a long position to be opened on BTC in the kind of coming days and weeks, right? So, and when we start thinking about the bigger macro position for Bitcoin, we can of course reflect on these key areas. We have obviously turned this previous area of support into resistance. That's right up in the $17,000 to $18,000 range, and so it does look like we're going to have to start talking about coming down into the $13,000 to $14,000 range, and potentially even as low as $11,000, and that's going to be this little area here, which I do think is going to become a demand zone area, and basically the previous areas that were resistance and confirm them that they are now support levels. Now, how quickly that is going to be, I do not know. A part of me kind of wants us to kind of go straight down there and kind of see a lot of the retail kind of get shaken out and the whales start buying, so that we can have some confidence that this is kind of seeing the right kind of signals for kind of thinking the conclusion of the bear market. Without those signals, though, this could take a lot longer. Essentially, we do need to see retail investors sell their Bitcoin back to the whale investors before this bear market comes to close. So until that happens, in my opinion, I think we're going to be seeing the market bleeds out until those retail investors do sell. So there's a few key areas. Obviously, none of these have changed since the last video. So, I think for the main part, talking $11,500 to $14,000. That's the next kind of major area that I think we have a good, strong possibility of finding really good support for BTC. Lose that, and we are potentially talking much lower. I don't really want to kind of highlight these ones too much, but There's a few areas down in this lower range, lower than $10,000, that could be really good support areas for BTC. But on the kind of shorter time frames, yeah, I think sideways trading like we do most weekends, and we might see something actually like this, where we kind of trade sideways. We then just kind of move down rapidly, liquidate people, and then move up quite a bit. So I wouldn't put it past something like that happening here, just as there's going to be loads of liquidity around this swing low point. So basically just move down, grab that liquidity, and then rally on up. So just keep that in mind, guys. I will leave the video right there. If you have found it useful and informative, smash the like button. I do appreciate that. If you're new to the channel, subscribe to stay up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. And with all that said, done and out of the way, hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.